Hey George, I'm going to be showing you here everything I had been talking about with the AZON 30-day challenge. This is going to involve making 2 news email posts and then transferring some content from RyanStevensonMarketing.com to TeamAzonPro.com. So the first thing is the RyanStevensonMarketing.com/30-day challenge site. This is where I'll be making my updates. And each Wednesday, I'll be creating 2 parts to this, which will be, one is the actual video lesson. So like here, this is day 1. That's the video lesson. And then the next section, which in most cases is a string of days, this is going to be a checklist guide. Well, each Wednesday I'll be creating 2 of these, just like you see here. And these links here go to additional pages on the site. So this is the content that we're essentially going to end up copying over. So once I have this posted on the RyanStevensonMarketing.com site, the first thing you want to do is go to Get Response. I'm going to have to give you login information for these different sites, the ones that you haven't logged into before. I'll send that to you through Skype. So basically, you just want to log in to Get Response. And once you are in here, you want to go up to Messages and Create Newsletter. Then go to New Email Creator. Now for here, just type in AZON 30-day challenge news. And just call it like week number, whatever it may be. So currently I'm on week number 1. The first week that you'll be doing will be week number 2. And then so you'll be doing weeks 2 through 5. Now this message name here, nobody will ever see this. This is just for your reference and my reference. The next line here is the subject of the email. I'll get back to this in just a second. The other main thing you want to worry about doing here is the from. Change this to make sure it says Ryan at Ryan Stevenson Plugins. Don't use the Gmail address. The Gmail address seems to cause a lot more email bounces. So now the content for this email is going to come from these templates that I have put together. Now, I actually have 2 sets of templates. One is going to be for the general AZON 30-day challenge. I've titled this Weekly News AZON 30-day challenge. And then I have another one that is the weekly news, but specifically for Team AZON Pro members. So the one that we're doing first is just the standard AZON 30-day challenge weekly news. Now in this text file, there are actually 2 different email templates. You have one here at the bottom and one up at the top. You can see they're separated here by this, use this mail on a certain time frame. So this one here up at the top, we're going to be using on these 3 dates, and then the final email down at the bottom we'll be using on this date. So in here we have the content of the mail itself, but then the very top line here is our email subject. So you want the whole line, but don't get the beginning part that actually says email subject. Well, now, before we begin to copy stuff from this template over into GetResponse, we need to make a few changes to it first. Throughout these emails, I have certain sections that are in all capital letters. I think this only applies to the top template. I'm pretty sure I just wrote the bottom one out just as it'll be, because it's only going to be set once. Since this one will work for 3 different weeks, then there are different pieces that need to be replaced. And they're all in capital letters, and they all start with the word replace. So we have replace week number, replace count, and so on and so forth. So for now, the first one I'm going to do is replace week number. This one is simply a number of a week. So like for right now, this is week 1, so I would just put the number 1. So for the first one that you would do, you would end up having the number 2. So then you would just copy this email subject here and punch it into the subject line. Mine being week 1, I will do it as so. Next up, we need to click on Start from Scratch, and finally the blank template. Then click on Text Block and drag this over here and drop it. Now at this point, I'm going back to the template, and I'm going to do the rest of these replacements. Now you can do these manually if you want to, or you can also use the replace feature in something like Notepad. However, there's not really very many of them. The one up in the subject, and then you have 2 on this line, 2 on this line, 2 on this line, and 1 down here. And as far as the same ones repeating, this one repeats here, this one repeats here, and this one repeats here. So by using a search and replace feature, it's really not going to probably save an immense amount of time, but whichever way you prefer to do it. So now, the actual replacement tags that we're going to be doing here. The first one, replace count, is standing for which lesson or which week this is actually occurring. But it's using, I don't know what it's called specifically, where you convert the number 1 into the word first. So whatever your week number is, just convert that into the word that essentially means that same thing. So for me, week 1, I would do replace count, replacing with the word first. Same thing here. And just make sure your spacing ends up correct after you do the replacements, so you don't have words running together or too many spaces. So it reads, the recording from the first live lesson in the first week checklist guide for the Amazon 30-day challenge are now available. Next up, these 2 parts are day, and this is replace lesson day. This is just going to be a day number. You can find these day numbers right here. So for week number 2, the first one that you would do, your lesson day would end up being day number 8. So you would just put the number 8 here. For replace checklist days, that's going to be the second one below it. So this one here would be 9 through 14. The only one of those checklist days that does not have a spread is the very last one, but you won't have to worry about doing replacements on those. So you're just going to be doing replacements on these 6 lessons, essentially, 2 of them each week. So this would be your day counts for the first one, your lesson count, and your checklist. And your lesson and your checklist for week 3, your lesson and your checklist for week 4. So for mine, for the first week here, this is day number 1 for my lesson day. I would just put the number 1 here. And replace checklist days for me is going to be days 2 through 7. So I just do 2-7 here. So the same thing will be going down below. The lesson day goes here, checklist days go here. Finally, we have the next live class date. You can find this out by going to the plus symbol next to that particular lesson day. And you want to do the top one each of these times. So this would be the first one that you'll be doing. Lesson number 2 will be hosted live on Tuesday, August the 25th. So August 25th is what you are looking for here. Tuesday, replace class date with August 25th at 7 p.m. So you don't have to change anything else except for this. So the first time you do this, it'll be August 25th. The second time you do this, it'll be September the 1st. And the last time you make that replacement will be September the 8th. So now that completes my entire email. If you notice, there's nothing else out here past where you can't see. One other thing I did want to mention though, avoid having word wrap on. If you have word wrap on like this so you can actually see the whole email in this notepad and then you go to copy and paste it, it'll end up messing up the word wrapping inside of GetResponse. So it's really, really important that you leave word wrap off and just let everything extend off the side of the notepad. Now what you want to do is select the entire email once you have all of those replacement phrases completed. There's 8 of them total, including the one that was up in the subject. And that's just for this particular mail. The one down below here isn't going to have any, and I'll get to the teammates on Pro Mail in just a minute. So now we're going to take this mail and we're going to put it into GetResponse. Now the way this is done is kind of important or else it messes up the formatting. As you can see, the title here is in larger text and it's bold, whereas the rest of the text is a lot smaller. I prefer to use this smaller size, and wherever you paste it into essentially can end up affecting how it is seen. So I start from the bottom here and I just go up and select this entire paragraph of text, but I leave the little header here alone. And then I just paste directly from my email that I copied in here. Now what we want to do is select the title, and I just hit the delete key 2 times to remove it and to get rid of the blank line. So now this becomes my entire email. The next thing you need to do is select the clickable link that is in the mail. Copy it. I use Control+C You can't even, oh, you can right click. Sometimes copying it through a right click though doesn't seem to work correctly. So I just select it and press Control plus C on my keyboard. Then I click the little link icon right here, insert edit link, and just click on URL and Control V to paste that in, and then just click OK. So you can tell when you've done that correctly because it does turn into a link. Now the final thing here with this email composition up at the top is add like 4 or 5 blank lines just so there is a little separation from the email with the extra stuff that GetResponse will add into the bottom. Some people will just blindly go through a mail, scroll the bottom, click the very last link, and realize, oops, I just unsubscribed from that newsletter when they really didn't intend to do that. So I try to put a little bit of a visual barrier there. Once we have all of this entered in, then we want to click this very last line and hold down the Shift button and click at the very top of it. That way we have the entire email selected, including these blank lines that we have added in. Now we want to click on plain text, press Control V. Uh-oh, I didn't copy it. I guess I missed that step. We need to copy this in, Control C, then go over to plain text, Control V to paste it in. Now, unfortunately, this part gets a little messed up. Actually, it'll be easier. I usually do my mails on Aweber first, but when I'm only doing the mail on GetResponse, whenever you copy from the HTML version in the background to the plain text version, it always wipes out the blank lines for some reason. I'm not really quite sure why it does that. But using Aweber first for me fixes that, so I typically don't worry about it. For the case of these mails, what you may actually want to do is go back to your notepad at this point, copy this mail again, make sure you're not getting the subject in there though. Paste it in, manually add your blank lines to the bottom, but make sure you're adding the same number of blank lines. You don't want your plain text version to vary from your HTML version as far as the actual content contained in it. Scroll to the top of this, make sure you don't have any blank lines up at the beginning. Then click on Wrap Long Lines right here. And just scroll down and make sure everything looks correct. Make sure nothing got bumped to another line and, cause some extra spacing or whatever. This is actually where you would run into some major issues if you had this on word wrap in the notepad, and then you come over here and paste it, and then you wrap your long lines. You get lines that only go a little ways over, and then it thinks you're at the end of a paragraph, and so it starts over again, and it ends up looking funny. So that's the whole reasoning behind making sure word wrap is turned off in Notepad, and then letting GetResponse handle the word wrapping here. So once we're done with that, we just click on Close. And then we go down to next step once our email is all set up. Now for the first time around, we are emailing the Amazon 30-Day Challenge members, the people that have paid to be a part of that webinar series. So what you want to do, and this is the really, really important part, if you happen to select the wrong ones here, you could end up basically giving all of my customers free access to that entire series. So make sure you're selecting the correct one and not getting any extras. The one you're looking for the Amazon 30-Day Challenge members says JVZ _ Azon _ 30-Day _ challenge. Now this doesn't contain everybody that's in the series. Some people did opt out when they joined the series to not get these notifications. Other people, like I think yourself would be the main one, may not be part of this. Robert Bundy, if you just gave him access to the page and to the go-to webinar sign-up link, he would also not be on this list, for example. But for the most part, this does contain at least a decent majority of the people. The people that really want to be receiving these updates should all be on this list. So I've got 51 people. All I do here is just check on the box, and it tells me subscribers 51 down at the bottom. So this is kind of how you can verify that you have the correct stuff selected up at the top. If you see a really high subscriber number right here, don't proceed. Go back up top and see what you may have done selecting something else. For example, if you were to click on the all checkbox here, you end up with thousands of people that it would send that out to. So definitely be careful here. Make sure you only have this one box selected. Currently, it's at 51 people. This count could go up or down a little bit, though. It would most likely never end up topping 100 before the series concluded, though. So that number will always stay pretty low for this particular series news mail. So now once we are done with that, just click on Next Step. And this will take us here. And all you have to do now is click on the Send button, and it'll automatically send that email out. There is a 60-second delay once you click on Send. It'll pop up a little message offering you a little text link that you can click to cancel the sending if for some reason you realize maybe you forgot something. At that point, you can actually stop it. But you only have 60 seconds to actually do that. Now for me, I already sent this specific email out yesterday. So actually do not need to send this particular one. However, I do have one for Team Azon Pro, and I have not sent that out. So I'll go through the entire process for the next time. But it's really no more than just clicking on this Send button right here. So this completes the Azon 30-Day Challenge member newsletter. The next thing you want to do is to transfer the content. So we're transferring content now from RyanStevensonMarketing.com to TeamAzonPro.com. This is done in a couple different pieces and in a couple different steps. To start with, on RyanStevensonMarketing.com, go to Pages. In the Pages section, sort everything by date, so you end up with the most recent published pages on the top. And the most recent 2 pages should be the ones that you would be wanting to mess with. Because I have not created, for example, the day number 8 one and the days 9 through 14 page. Those would be the ones that you'll be looking for the first time you do this. So if you sort them by date, those 2 should be showing up at the top after I've created and published them. So once you reach this point, what you are looking to do is edit both of these pages. And then you essentially want to be copying the title of the page and all of the content in the page on both pages, and we're going to be copying this again over to Team Azon Pro. So on Team Azon Pro, what you want to do here is instead of doing this as a page, we're doing it as a post. You can see right here, these are the 2 that I have already done for this week. And so they are essentially identical copies of what is over on the Ryan Stevenson marketing page, with a couple of minor exceptions, and I will get into those shortly here. So first go to Post and add New. And this is going to be our first post. So you want to copy the title over like so, and also copy the content of the page over. Now, the main thing that you need to worry about doing besides copying the content over and also making sure that you're using a post here and not a page like the original is to change a link. This link up here at the top is a link pointing back to the AZON 30-day challenge. Well, we want to have a link that points to the AZON 30-day challenge, but on Team AZON Pro now instead of on Ryan Stevenson Marketing. So first of all, change Ryan Stevenson Marketing to say Team AZON Pro, and change 30-day challenge to say 30 DC. No hyphens or anything. Nice, short, and sweet. So beyond that change there, the other things that we need to do here are, number one, go over to S2 member where it says post level restriction. We're going to change this to require level number 1 or higher. And then scroll down the page just a little bit, and where it says categories, we click on training, and where it says tags, you can just click on choose from the most used tags, and you can find the 30-day challenge. It just says 30 DC. Just click on that tag and it'll add the tag to it. This here helps to ensure that it gets sorted into the correct area in the Team AZON Pro member area. And you don't have to do any connecting up of the new content that's being added that way. So with that done, we can now publish the page. However, again, I have already done this one particular page. You can see right here, I've already transferred this over. Up at the top, my link going back to the AZON 30-day challenge takes me to this page on the Team AZON Pro website. Now what we want to do is to do the same exact thing for the checklist guide one. And it's important that you do the video one first and then the checklist guide one, because we want it to show up in the proper order on the Team AZON Pro website. We don't want it to look like they were released backwards, essentially. So copy the second page over, just like I showed you with the first, and you'll be making the same changes to that page as well. Up at the very top, change the RyanStevensonMarketing.com to Team AZON Pro, change 30-day challenge to 30 DC, and then set your category as training, set your tag, and set your restriction level. Now, notice that some of these do have additional links in them. If the link is a PDF link, leave it alone. Don't change it to Team AZON Pro. But in the checklist guide post for each one, there's going to be 3 links here up at the top. The first one is the one you want to change to Team AZON Pro and 30 DC. The second one is for a PDF. You leave that one alone. The third one here, though, is pointing to yesterday's lesson, essentially the video lesson that you just got done transferring over once you get to this checklist guide. So you do want to change the URL on that one as well. So you would have Team Azon Pro, 30DC, and then you skip that one, and then you change this one. The URLs should be the same if you're just copying the titles over. WordPress should still calculate the same URL on both of those sites. So now that's the only changes that you need to make here for now at least. But before you actually publish the checklist guide, just hold that page for a moment. You can even save it as a draft or something if you want to. We have a couple more things that we have to set up. Then we have to come back here, and we're going to end up changing these numbers that are down at the bottom. But we can't change them quite yet because we don't know what to change them to. So to find that out, and the next part of this transferring is going to be to transfer the tasks that are in here. If you are on the Ryan Stevenson marketing site and you click on tasks down at the bottom, you'll end up on this page that you see here. If you sort everything by date once again and look for the most recently published ones, look for the most recent list category, and it should be talking about the 30-day challenge and then work days, and then these numbers will increase, each week that this goes on. So you're looking for the most recent category that I have added on here. And again, you can find that out by sorting by date. So when you find the most recent category, click on the category link here, and that will refine the list to only show you those. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think you have to do that. You don't have to refine the list. I think you can just come to this page and just simply click on Export to XML up at the top. Yeah, here we go. And then you can select your category. So look for the current work days that you're doing for the checklist guide part. Select that and click on Download. And this will download an XML file to your computer. Simply save that file and then go over to Team Azon Pro and look for the same section, the task area. Click on the link here to get to this same page, and this time we're going to be doing an import from XML. Then we simply find the XML file that we have downloaded and click on Open. And then it's automatically going to add those in. I already have that one you can see right here, workdays 2 to 7. I already have this one loaded in. So again, I won't be loading this in for this demonstration. Once the XML file has been imported into Team Azon Pro, then on Team Azon Pro, click on List Categories. Then you want to look for the list that you just imported into Team Azon Pro. So for my demonstration, this is the workday 2 to 7. And I want to hover over the edit link. Then I want to look in the URL that's showing up down in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen. And I want to look for the ID number. It says tag ID is equal to 31 for this particular category. Each category will have a different number. This one's 25, this one's 26, so on and so forth. So I want to find the tag ID number, and that is the number that I then need to take back. So number 31 here, if I go back to, I hadn't actually created that post. I was just showing an example of it here on the existing site. Now again, this ignore this. I should be on T-Mason Pro right now. I'm just modifying the original version of this simply to demonstrate, because I do already have this up on T-Mason Pro. So this is your draft copy that you have not published so far. All you need to do is change the number at the bottom to represent the number from the list category that I was just showing you. Now I can show you what this will look like completed, because I do have that done on the T-Mason Pro website already. So this is what you should end up with when you have transferred that second post over. You've changed the link up at the top. You have changed the reference to yesterday's lesson. You can see right here, yesterday's lesson. And then you're also changing the numbers at the bottom. And again, you're also setting the post level restriction, the category, and also the tag as well. So once you have all of those pieces in for this second post, the checklist guide post, then you can publish that particular one. Now finally, the last thing that you need to do to get all of this connected up to the site correctly is to go to the actual page for the 30-day challenge. I'm going to still need this. So when you have created the post, go ahead and open up a link to that post. What we need is the URL. I guess technically we could get this elsewhere. That might be a little more complicated. Sorry, I'm trying not to overcomplicate things here. The easiest way to do this, on T-Mason Pro, go to Task. When you are in this section, look for the list category that says ASON 30-day challenge and nothing else. So it won't be talking about work days or anything like that. Then you want to look for the two that refer to the ones that you just got done creating. So for your first week, you'll be doing day 8 and then the day 9 through 14 section. So you'll want to edit these two. For me though, I will be editing these two, and this is obviously something that I've already done. What I'm looking to do, I'm going to show you one I've already done compared with the one you'll be doing. The one you'll be doing is right here. At least one of the two. You'll be doing day 8 and then the day 9 through 14. On both of these, or any of the other future ones, at the very end of it, you have capital letters for an entire sentence, and all this is wrapped in a bold tag. You want to remove this text that is at the end. Then what you want to do is open up the day 1 and simply copy the link from it. Go back, paste the link onto the end, change the lesson number for this one, and then finally the last part that you'll need to do is just change the URL here. Okay, so now all we need is that URL. This can kind of be achieved in a few different ways. You can find that post that you created on T-Mason Pro and copy the URL from it and paste it into here. You could also click on like link here maybe just make like a test link. Click on link, find the post that you created for that. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. I was looking to search. Okay, so looking at this list here, you see there are some that are dated and others that say task. You'd be looking for the dated one that relates to the one that you're doing. Obviously, I don't have the day 8 one yet. I've only created the day 1 post so far. So you could click on that and get your link this way, copy it, and then paste it in over top of the existing URL. You can also, get it from viewing the post that you created on Team Azon Pro, just kind of whatever works out easier for you. And then all you have to do is just update that particular one. Now you're going to do the same thing for the checklist guide one, except at the end here, the text is slightly different. It says click here for the checklist guide for week number 1, whereas the other one says click here to watch lesson number and whatever it is. So if you refer to what I have done for day number 1 and for days 2 through 7, and you copy that same link format from day 1 to day number 8, which would also go on 15, 22, and 29. And then the day 2 through 7 one would go on 9 to 14, 16 to 21, 23 to 28, and also on the 30. Then you would just have to change the number that's being referenced in that link text and then also the URL in that link. Now the whole point of this last little piece that I was showing you to add that link on, when you are on the Amazon 30-day challenge page, you can actually see that when you click on the plus, it extends and gives you a link here, which then takes you to go watch that lesson. So without these links added in, like I was just showing you, people wouldn't be able to get from this page to those individual posts that you just created. In addition to adding all of this, once you have the 2 posts created and the 2 tasks edited on the Team Azon Pro website, you should be able to go to teamazonpro.com/30dc, and if you refresh that page, then you should be able to look at the new ones that you have just done. So for example, the first time you do this, it'll be these 2 that you'll be doing. So you should be able to come down here, click on the plus button, and here where it has this bold text talking about when it's going to be hosted and posted, you should instead see a clickable link here, just like this. And then you should be able to click to that link and get to the proper post on the Team Azon Pro website. The first one will be showing a video like what you see here. And then the second one each week goes to a checklist guide. Now the checklist guide is going to have another checklist down at the bottom, which should then have expand out information. So just go down at the bottom of this checklist and make sure that the information in this checklist, just briefly take a look at it and make sure it refers to the actual lesson that you're working on. So all of this gets the 30-day challenge content transferred for Ryan Stevenson Marketing over to Team Azon Pro. Once it is all loaded up onto Team Azon Pro, then we can make a news post about it to the Team Azon Pro members. Now this post I have not done yet. I got this put up on the Team Azon Pro website today finally, and I have not sent this email out and decided to hold off on it to wait to do this recording. So this is going to work the same way that the other one did pretty much, with a couple of minor exceptions. We're doing the same setup as before. Call it News Week 1. This time though, we have a different email template. This one, again, called Team Azon Pro up at the start of the file name. And we also have two separate templates within this one. One of them for the final mail on September 16th, and this one for the other 3 mails, starting with the first one that you'll be doing on August the 26th. So this works the same way that it did for the previous email though. We have replacements that we are making. So we have week 1 video. The first time you'll do this, it would be week 2. We have replace count, where I'm taking that number and turning it into a word. First, second, third, fourth, fifth would be the only ones that we'll be doing. Lesson day. Again, this works just like the previous one. You can get these day counts from the little checklist guide area. So those are all the replacements that you have to make on the Team Azon Pro message. Then you're going to be copying the subject. I'm looking at this to try to see if it might be too long. I'm just going to change the words video and checklist into content, and I'm updating this also in the Team Azon Pro template here. So now I have my subject, I've changed my email, and I can now proceed on to create the actual email. Just like before, start from scratch, blank template, drag a text block over, replace the bottom paragraph with the mail content, remove the header, make sure there's a couple blank lines at the bottom, and turn the URL into a clickable link, just like so. I'm going to do the same thing again for the plain text. Paste it in, make sure I have a couple blank lines, and finally wrap my long lines. Now I copied that again back from the notepad, so it would give me the proper line blanks in between each of the sentences. So this is all that has to be done for this mail. I'm actually going to pause this for just a moment, and I need to modify this slightly for the first mail that's going out. But this is what you'll be doing for mails number 2, 3, and 4 for the next 3 weeks, essentially. You'll be doing the same type of thing, but just changing the different number references that are in it. Okay, I just made a slight change to it, and now I'm clicking on Next Step to proceed on. So for the second time around, when we are letting, hey, you're messaging me. For the second time around, what we are doing for selecting the recipients that we want to include is we're looking for the list called JVZ underscore Team Azon Pro. There's currently 255 people that are on that list. Now, the other thing that I want to do here is where it says Exclude Recipients, click on Choose Campaign, and then find the Azon 30-Day Challenge and check on this. If you see here when I select this box, it changes from 255 subscribers down to 239. That means that I actually have 16 of the 51 people that are on this list are also on the Team Azon Pro list. However, not necessarily everybody on the Team Azon Pro list, they're not guaranteed to be an active member. So I mail the 30-day challenge people first, then I mail the Team Azon Pro list, and I exclude the 30-day challenge people from that mailing. This simply helps to ensure that somebody that is either a current or a past Team Azon Pro member and part of the live series as well, it just helps to ensure that they don't end up receiving two emails from this, essentially one email right after the other, and they're both going to basically say the same thing. So that's the whole reason for excluding the 30-day challenge for the Team Azon Pro mail. So currently this is putting it at 239 subscribers that it's going to be mailing. So I'm going to click on Next Step. And you get to this point here. And all I'm going to be doing is clicking on Send, just like I mentioned. So this is how you send out your email. As you can see, well done. Your message will be sent in 60 seconds. If you realize you forgot something, click on the Cancel Sending link here before this time runs out. Otherwise, there's nothing you can do about it. It's sent and it's done. If need be, if there are any mess ups, we can send out a second email with corrections or whatever. I just try to avoid doing that kind of stuff whenever possible. But there are always cases that come up where I forget something or where I just simply overlook something or mess something up and I get forced to send a correction email. But hopefully that explains the whole process very thoroughly for you. If you do have any questions about that, please let me know. And thank you again.